Hey, everybody. This is Steven Wright. I am following up on the live that Siobhan Sarna and I did this week. It's currently Saturday, March 18th, and we were both super surprised and excited that there was like 500 plus people live, and the questions were popping off. There was way too many questions for us to answer live. There's even too many for me to answer now. But I did want to try to grab some of these and try to provide some more value, because it seems like there's a lot of interest in stomach acid, enzymes, small intestine, and all the good things there. So just a reminder, you can go to healthygut.com/shop SIBO SOS. There's also coupons and stuff available on the SIBO SOS site to get $15 off and free shipping on our products in the first purchase. And we have a 60-day money-back refund. So we also have health coaches on the team to help you with your dosing questions or specific one-on-one questions. So I did have to chop this down, and I'm going to grab as many of these as I can, but I did have to eliminate some that were very like medical based or one-on-one based, because I don't have the time or space to be your whatever. We can't be doing medical advice, basically. So, but let's jump into a few of these. All right. So the first one here is Diane Orlando. I am constantly bloated and suffer from distension. I did the baking soda test for a few days, and after 8 minutes, I did not burp. What does this indicate? So the baking soda test is a sort of at-home test you can do. I would recommend 3 days in a row. The reason for this is it's not very accurate, so you need to get a lot of repetitions for the statistical significance. So basically, you take like a teaspoon of baking soda, put it in a little bit of water, swallow it, and then you time how long it takes you to burp. Anything over like 3.5 minutes or so suggests like low stomach acid is possible. Anything over 5 minutes is pretty much guaranteed you have low stomach acid. So in this case, Diane, I would say this indicates you have low stomach acid from a resting state, and that you should progress on and test out a betaine HCl product like HCl Guard, and do the betaine HCl challenge. So the baking soda test is something you can do at home. Anybody can do it at home. And so sometimes it's faster and cheaper to try to get an idea if you have low stomach acid. It's not super accurate. Like there's people who can burp right away that still have low stomach acid. So I don't always recommend it. That's why the HCl challenge is typically the best. But it's also not a bad thing to do. And it's fun to experiment, I think. So next question here is Gina. Does drinking high levels of water, 80 plus ounces per day, contribute to low stomach acid? Now, I do not believe this is true. In fact, I would think that's going to hydrate you. It's going to help flush out any toxins. You do need to make sure with that kind of water consumption that you have enough electrolytes. So you need to be putting some, sea salt or taking some electrolyte powders or something like that, just to make sure you have enough electrolytes. But the thing about this is you don't want to be drinking a ginormous amount of water around your meals. So this totally works as long as you're not drinking that giant water consumption right around your meals. So we want to limit all consumption of all liquids during our meals. Davey asks, are the risks of low stomach acid reversible if low stomach acid is corrected? Davey, the belief in the research as well as the medical communities at large at this point is yes. So if you reverse low stomach acid, if you support it, you will be helping to basically lower the amount of LPS, so the toxins that are entering your small intestine on a daily basis. This should lower your inflammatory burden. You will be breaking apart your meat and your vegetables in a better way possible. You'll be liberating B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, other minerals. So your absorption of not only amino acids, but minerals should go way up. And then overall, proper acidity is associated with like proper bone health, proper aging, things like this. So in general, correcting low stomach acid or supporting it, even late in life, is thought to be protective due to like aging and signs of aging. All right, Miriam asks, I have a hiatal hernia and Barrett's esophagus. I am on daily Prilosec. I worry about causing low stomach acid, but my doc says I need to be on an antacid. What do you recommend? So it's Saturday, and I've had a long week. And in this case, Miriam, if you're on the SIBO SOS community, anybody listening to this is in the same position, I would say you fire your doctor or hire a new doctor in conjunction with the current one you have if they are your primary care and you need them for insurance purposes, but fire them on this particular topic and go seek an integrative specialist or a functional medicine specialist who can look more closely at your series of conditions, your current state of health, your current labs, and see if it's possible to create a protocol to get you off of the antacid. So that's exactly what I would do if I was in your shoes, and what anybody listening who actually wants to, correct these issues should do, in my opinion. Susan asks, I have low stomach acid. Why did I feel better when I tried a 10-day trial of Omeprazole? So Omeprazole is a stomach acid lowering drug. It's over the counter now. And typically when I see this, what this indicates is that you have some level of inflammation and gastritis. So your mucosal barrier inside of your stomach or inside of your esophagus and your stomach is likely a little inflamed. And so further lowering stomach acid. So let's say you're at like a medium level, like some days you have enough acid, other days you don't have enough acid. If you just totally tank it, you drive it to 0 for 10 days. You can reduce the inflammation on the mucosal pathways. You can reduce the sort of aggravation on a daily basis. And also because you're driving your body out of the middle, right? Like if high acid is what we want, and you're driving it out of this middle zone into 0 acid. This can also just change the ecology inside your stomach, and whatever was growing at that middle range, you could have just, snuffed it out, killed it off, done something like that. So typically it's related to gastritis, inflammation, and mucosal barrier damage though. Anonymous asks, how does HCl challenge with apple cider vinegar compared to using hydrochloric acid to provoke? We touched on this briefly during the recording and during the live, and I think you should go listen to it again. But apple cider vinegar has a pH of, I believe, around 2.45-ish, somewhere in there. The stomach acid you're trying to get to is below a 2, and hydrochloric acid is typically below a 2. It's usually like 1.8-ish, somewhere in that range, plus or minus a little bit. And so typically, what that means is that if you do a shot of apple cider vinegar before your meal today, it's kind of like the baking soda test I mentioned at the beginning of this recording, meaning that if you do the baking soda test on an empty stomach and you don't burp for a long time, it suggests you have low stomach acid. Well, it also is suggestive that you have low stomach acid if you take a shot of like a 1 ounce shot or a 1 tablespoon shot of apple cider vinegar before a meal, and you have better digestion, meaning you feels better, you have better poops the next day, you have less bloating, you just feel more energetic. But the thing is it's never going to drive your pH below that baseline threshold of 2.4. So in general, I think it's indicative. It can be helpful. I think the ACV challenge is actually a better challenge to do at home than the baking soda challenge. But I think the protocol to support yourself long term is going to still be to use a BT and HCl with pepsin supplement. Tracy asks, if you have low amino acids on a low amino acid test, is there a way to know if it's from low stomach acid? In addition to HCl, or instead of it, would digestive enzymes be a good idea? So Tracy, you could have low amino acids on a like an organic acids panel or something like that. You could do the low stomach acid challenge using BT and HCl or apple cider vinegar. If you test as in you do not have enough acid in your stomach, I would start supplementing with it and then recheck your levels in like 6 months and see what happens. Now, if you're trying to further science and you're trying to write about this, do it that way. If you're just a regular person who wants to feel great, I would also start to supplement with amino acids. So get like a broad chain amino acid, meaning there's like 8 or more amino acids inside the blend, and take that along with it. And yes, digestive enzymes is a fantastic idea. In fact, I think anybody with low stomach acid who is not taking not taking digestive enzymes is really missing out, and they should definitely do it. What suggestions for individuals with gastritis and reflux, or gastroparesis and reflux? Sorry if you hear the dogs barking, they're kind of interrupting my flow here a little bit. So Gastroparesis is a really difficult condition. There's like a lot of factors that can go into this. There's physical deformities you have to check for. There can be nerve damage. There can be central nervous system, communication pathway issues, and typically low stomach acid is part of it. And so you can always try betaine HCl and HCl Guard if you have gastroparesis. It helps some people, but it does not help everybody. It's more like a 50-50 shot. And definitely work with a really high quality integrative practitioner or functional medicine practitioner if you have gastroparesis. With reflux, I would definitely suggest trying a betaine HCl and digestive enzyme combo. That's typically the way to rebuild your body after you've had reflux for a really long time, as long as you don't have any active ulcers. So again, you can go to healthygut.com/shop SIBO SOS, and you can get a discount there. You can support Siobhan and their company. So let's grab a few more here, and then I'm going to call it a wrap. And again, I do apologize if there's some dogs in the background. I can't tell from the microphone if it's getting picked up. I don't think it is. So Lucy asks, as I understand, we can take HCl while we're treating H. pylori. Is this true? What is the protocol with H. pylori and HCl self-test? What can we do to protect in the future from H. pylori? So yes, if you have H. pylori, you can take betaine HCl. There is a school of people who believe that you cannot take it, and that's just not true. I've seen it cleared over 100 times while taking betaine HCl with H. pylori treatments. So you can take them together. There's no big issue there. There's no like protocol. It's just do the H. pylori protocol that your doctor gives you, your practitioner gives you, and do HCl challenge with them or at home or whatever, and take the right amount of betaine HCl, take the right amount of enzymes, as well as taking the full H. pylori protocol. The best way to protect against H. pylori in the future is to have a really strong stomach acid. So you want that, less than 2 on the pH of the stomach acid. You want to have lots of all of the minerals that are needed to create stomach acids, such as magnesium and well, I guess there's vitamins as well. Zinc is also a big one. And then lastly, you want to do things that encourage proper release of stomach acid, which means you want to have good parasympathetic tone or vagal tone, or you want to, in other words, rotate between sympathetic and parasympathetic by smelling your food, saying gratitude, making sure you're not too stressed. Elizabeth asks, taking the betaine capsule at the first bite. I tried it before. I felt a burn somewhere below my stomach. What does that mean? It scared me, and I don't want to try any more betaine. Would it be pointless to take it halfway through the meal or at the end of the dinner? So I kept this question in because this is a lot of people's experience. I want to just say a few things on this. Number one is that if you're going to get out of a chronic health issue, if you want to get super healthy, you're going to have to get more comfortable with pain and trying things. I'm not encouraging pain, and if you're in pain, I'm not saying to keep doing it. But I know that this is not just Elizabeth. This is a lot of people who are like, I tried that once. I had some pain. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know to take baking soda to make the pain go away, and I'm never touching that stuff again. And I think that's just so sad, because a lot of times those people, what they're having right there oftentimes is gastritis. They're having inflammation, and it's not right for them to take betaine HCl or HCl Guard or any HCl product right now. First, they need to heal up their mucus layer, and usually they can do that with DGL, like high-dose DGL, make maybe 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. Usually butyrate, like Tributryin-X, can also help. And focusing on your hormones, like people with low estrogen or low progesterone, especially women, can tend to have thin mucus lining. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when you change your mucus barrier, when you change the health of your intestines from both the small intestine, but also the stomach and the esophagus, after you heal up that gastritis and that inflammation, typically then you need to try betaine HCl again, because you typically were low stomach acid. Like, I'm guessing you meet all the symptoms for having low stomach acid, which is why you tried it in the first place. So a few things. One is, I'm not advocating for anybody to be in pain. Take some baking soda, like a teaspoon of baking soda if you're in pain when you're doing the challenge. If you get pain, focus on hormones, focus on mucosal barrier for like 3 months, and then try it again. And then also you need to be taking this with a protein meal. So you could have made a mistake there by just eating a salad or something like that. And taking it halfway through the dinner, it could change things, but I don't know if you meet the criteria for the other things I mentioned, whether that would matter. Okay, a few more here. Lucy, can you talk more about H. pylori, low stomach acid, and HCl? Looks like there's kind of a repeat here from the question above. So I feel like I've already answered this, but in general, Lucy, H. pylori basically shuts down stomach acid production in the cells where it attaches in the surrounding cells. And so H. pylori tries to create a low acid environment so it can thrive. And so using BT and HCl with H. pylori treatment, or just in general to make it more inhospitable for H. pylori, is what I'm advocating for. Edith, I think is how I pronounce your name there. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Could you dive into a little bit more detail about the difference between digestive enzymes and proteolytic enzymes? So digestive enzymes are literally enzymes, usually protein or protease, amylase and lipase, as well as brush border enzymes like cellulase and maltase, things like this, that are taken with food. Proteolytic enzymes are enzymes taken without food and are typically mostly proteases. And so in a digestive enzyme blend, you'll have a number of enzymes that do not start with peptidase or protease. They'll be things like I just said. They will include also things like alpha galactidase or xylanase or pectinase or anything like that. So those are more specialty enzymes for food. And then proteolytic enzymes will be things like protease, pepsidase, papain, bromelain, things like this. You also have nattokinase. You'll have the specialty ones like nattokinase, lumbokinase, serrapeptidase, things like this. And so you can use regular proteases, like you can use Holozyme. Like if you have a bottle of our Holozyme, you could take these on an empty stomach and they work very well for a proteolytic enzyme. They do not have the specialty enzymes like nattokinase or serrapeptidase in there, but they still do a lot of really good stuff just taking these on an empty stomach for anti-inflammatory. So hopefully that helps you with digestive enzymes versus proteolytic enzymes. The biggest thing is whether you take them with meal or an empty stomach, and then what's the makeup of the enzymes. Raul asks, is there a way to increase stomach acid naturally? I mentioned this on the live, but I wanted to mention it again. Probably the best way to do it is be in a parasympathetic or non-stress state, and then make sure you smell your food. Like be a little weirdo and be like, like really get the smell of the food into your nose. That's going to help you release more stomach acid and release it more naturally. Meg asks, what's the minimum amount of pepsin we should look for in a supplement? Meg, I think the minimum amount per capsule is about 25 to 30 milligrams of pepsin. So you want every single pill to have at least 25 to 30 milligrams of pepsin. You want the betaine HCl amount to be at least 500 milligrams or higher. So now HCl Guard, we've talked about this a few times, is different. It has intrinsic factor. Nobody else in the world has an HCl with intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is needed for B12 absorption, and it's thought to be low in people who need stomach acid support. It also has organic ginger and DGL. DGL helps heal those inflamed intestines, and then organic ginger helps with prokinetic effects. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in for this little recording here, where I would try to go through as many questions as I could. As you can see, I'm starting to fatigue a little bit. So hopefully this was enjoyable and helpful. And just remember that if you do try our products, we have the money back guarantee. We have the Facebook group. We have the health coaches. And if you don't, I don't care, as long as you do the betaine HCl challenge this month. Just get it done. Make sure it's not holding you back. All right. Thanks.